There's a moment in every teacher's life where you meet a student who reminds you of yourself. For me, that was last summer when I was teaching at Waltrip High School in Houston, Texas. This is the kind of school where students from all over Houston, often traveling far beyond their zoned high schools, come together in pursuit of opportunities they can't possibly find elsewhere. It's a public school where the majority of students are Hispanic and from low-income backgrounds, with only a few white and affluent students, creating a rich environment of resilience, ambition, and community spirit. This student, let's call him Mike, came up to me one afternoon, frustrated. He wasn't good at trumpet, he felt behind on mallets, and he was ready to walk away. And as I listened to him, I realized I had this exact same conversation, but years ago on the other side. I was the one who wanted to quit. And now, I was the one who had the chance to either let him walk away or help him believe that he could keep going. And standing there with him, I realized I felt something familiar. I knew exactly how that moment felt. Not in theory, but because I had been him. Imagine being a freshman walking into a band room for the first time at Osage High School in Ely, Houston. You don't have a percussion instructor, you've never read percussion music, and yet somehow you're expected to keep up with students who seem to already know what they're doing. That was me, shy, overwhelmed, and ready to walk away before I even started. I went home that day and seriously considered quitting. I felt like I didn't belong in that room, like I didn't belong in music at all. But then, my band director, Mrs. Smith, who even while on maternity leave, saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. When I was ready to walk away, she encouraged me to give her a chance, this time with something different. She handed me a bass guitar and introduced me to jazz. That wasn't just a new instrument for me, that was a lifeline. That was someone giving me the very thing I didn't know how to ask for, another way in. That one moment didn't just keep me in music, it changed the direction of my life. Music education is not just simply learning how to play an instrument or perform on stage. It builds crucial cognitive skills such as memory, critical thinking, and problem solving. Sure, we've all heard the studies. Students in music programs excel in math, reading, and memory-based tasks, but what we don't talk about is what happens beyond the grades. Music education also nurtures social and emotional skills. It provides a sense of belonging and purpose, especially in low-income communities and underfunded schools where opportunities to explore creativity are few and far between. During my junior year of high school, I was honored to become a drum major. For those who are unfamiliar, a drum major is the leader of the marching band, responsible for conducting and setting the tempo, being the band director's right hand, and inspiring the ensemble with discipline, unity, and passion. Around the same time, I was asked to mentor 2 freshmen, students who reminded me of who I used to be. As I demonstrated the basics of playing the bass guitar, my hands were trembling, feeling the weight of responsibility teaching for the first time. At that moment, I realized this wasn't just about hitting the right notes. It was about connection. It was about connecting with someone on a deeper level. It was about giving someone the kind of support I once needed but had to find on my own. Since then, that drive to give back, to build others up the way I was built up, has become the thread running through everything I do. After high school, I encountered another pivotal moment. I found myself sitting in a class here, my freshman year, feeling lost, disconnected, and questioning whether I belonged in music at all. The class that was supposed to deepen my love for music actually made me feel the opposite. But that winter break, visiting Mrs. Smith, reminded me why I started. It reignited something I thought I'd lost. A year later, hearing one of my compositions performed live for the first time, coupled with the confidence boost I received from Professor Arauco, who believed in my potential as a music composer, inspired me to keep pursuing music. Later, when I took a teaching job at Waltrip High School, I felt a mix of emotions. There was excitement about the opportunity, but also the bittersweet feeling of leaving behind students and colleagues who had become family. What struck me most, though, was what I walked into, a group of students who had been passed over, not by lack of ability, but because no one took the time to teach them. Some were told not to play, others had been left behind without ever learning the basics. Their curiosity was stifled, not by lack of talent, but by lack of support. During my first 2 years teaching at Waltrip High School, I focused on rebuilding from the ground up. I spent hours developing fundamental exercises, offering free private lessons, and doing everything I could to ensure my students had the guidance that they were missing. By my 3rd year, the budget could only cover the wind parts, leaving a critical gap in our ensemble. I stepped in and decided to volunteer to write the percussion music. That decision marked the beginning of a long-term journey of transformation, not just for my students, but for the band program itself. But what made this moment truly transformational wasn't just that I wrote the music, it was how I approached it. I spent years learning who these students were, what they struggled with, and where they shined. I composed parts that specifically targeted areas that the students needed to grow, writing with intention, not just difficulty. And then I taught them how to navigate that challenge without feeling overwhelmed. More importantly, I didn't just teach them what to play, I taught them how to learn, how to run rehearsals on their own, how to listen for dynamics, watch for stick heights, and break down tricky rhythms, how to lean on each other's strengths, because not everyone starts at the same place, but everyone brings something valuable to the group. Whether it was taping sticks, counting out a tricky passage, or encouraging someone to keep going, everyone contributed. By the time I handed them the third movement, I didn't need to lead them through it. They led themselves. They were reading the music, troubleshooting issues, and guiding the newer members through sections they once struggled with themselves. I still remember the first performance. The music I wrote was far beyond what they were used to, but instead of giving up, they leaned in and trusted me. They struggled together, practiced relentlessly, and slowly began to unlock something greater than the notes on the page. Rehearsals became a space for growth, not just as musicians, but as leaders, teammates, and resilient young people. By pushing past their limits, they built more than just technique. They built trust in themselves. That moment, born out of a funding gap, became the foundation for transformation. What started as one piece of music turned into months of progress, and that progress continues to echo in how they carry themselves far beyond the band room. Despite the life-changing impact I've seen, music education is constantly on the chopping block. In underfunded schools like Waltrip, where opportunities to explore creativity are few and far between, budget cuts make it nearly impossible to offer consistent, high-quality music programs. Students who face so many barriers lose one more outlet that could help them thrive. During my first year teaching percussion, I was hired and paid. During my second year, there were budget cuts across different districts. I kept showing up, volunteering, teaching for free. I'll never forget walking into the band hall that second summer and seeing my students already there, sticks in hand, ready to work. I didn't get paid that year, but they showed up, so I did too. Because how could I not? When students are that eager to learn, when they come early, stay late, and give it their all, you want to give them everything you have. But that kind of sacrifice isn't sustainable. For me, it meant having multiple jobs, as a line server at a Mediterranean grill, as a data analyst for a law firm, working 12 to 20-hour days. For my students, it meant clinging onto something that could disappear at any moment, losing the structure, consistency, and motivation that music once gave them. It is undeniably wrong that I spent a year working without pay, but looking back, it's true that I wouldn't change a thing. That unpaid time wasn't just a sacrifice, it was an investment in the future of my students, the band program, and myself as an educator. Let me share what experts in music education have been saying. Laura Jenschke, a current professor at Texas Lutheran University and former elementary and high school teacher, explained in an interview that, quote, the students in our all-state choir and band programs have SAT scores almost 400 points above the average, end quote. This tells us that music isn't just about playing an instrument, it's about fostering academic excellence. Now, consider the staffing challenges. The National Association for Music Education recommends one teacher per 400 elementary students. Yet in cities like New Orleans and Boston, that number exceeds 1 in 800. This imbalance means that teachers can't build the close, nurturing relationships that are essential for student success. And while enrollment in music remains at an all-time high, with over 90% of U.S. schools offering music instruction, research by Barack, Payne, and others shows that funding for music education is being cut dramatically. In Kansas, for example, 60% of districts reported losing music funding, with a third losing more than 25% of their budget. When funding disappears, so does opportunity. Music starts to look like a luxury, something only schools with money can afford. And that's not just unfair, it's dangerous. I've seen music take a student from failing every class to making the honor roll, because music gave him a reason to stay after school, to care, and to grow. Those same rehearsal habits, breaking things down, practicing consistently, became the way he taught himself to study and succeed. When funding is cut, we're not just cutting programs, we're cutting lifelines. We're sending a message that music doesn't matter. And the students who need it the most, the ones who light up when they finally get something right, or the ones who find family and identity in band, are the first to be left behind. What would have happened if I hadn't shown up that summer? Or if I couldn't afford to? What if no one could? We have to remember this isn't just about nurturing future musicians. It's about fostering future engineers, doctors, teachers, and community leaders. The skills learned through music, such as discipline, creativity, and teamwork, prepare students for any path they choose in life. Every year, I attend the drum major dinner, featuring students who once held that prestigious position. chosen and mentored by Mrs. Smith. At the dinner, I see engineers whose creative problem-solving skills were honed by the precision and discipline of rehearsals, doctors whose steady hands and focus were shaped by countless hours of performance, and teachers who now pass on the lessons of teamwork and resilience onto their own students. All of them credit their time in band with teaching them how to stay calm under pressure, lead a team, and problem solve on the fly. Think about it. Every note played in unison during a performance is a small act of community building. Every challenge overcome on stage mirrors the challenges we face in life. And when funding for music education is cut, we're not just silencing an instrument. We're silencing the potential of future engineers, doctors, teachers, and community leaders. We're closing the door on creative thinking and collaboration. The Drum Major Reunion isn't just a celebration of past achievements, it's a reminder of what's possible when we nurture young talent. Educators, like Mrs. Smith, need the tools, time, and trust to do their jobs well, to inspire students, nurture talent, and change lives. And students deserve real opportunities to explore their musical potential. This isn't about politics, it's about possibility, the kind music creates in every classroom it's allowed to thrive in. I began my journey as a shy freshman who didn't know how to read a single note. I taught myself, note by note, rhythm by rhythm, and little by little I found my confidence. I'm now graduating as a composer, a leader, and an educator. Last summer, I met Mike, a student who reminded me of myself. He came to me, ready to quit. He felt behind, he didn't think he belonged, but I saw myself in him. And because someone once stood by me, I stood by him. By the end of the season, Mike had transformed. He went from not knowing how to play the bass drum or read drum music to marching confidently for the first time at the New Orleans Sugar Bowl Field Show competition, where the band and percussion got first place. Today, he excels in both music and on the baseball field, integrating the discipline, time management, and teamwork he honed through music into every aspect of his life. Meanwhile, many of the leaders and students I mentored have embraced that same musical spirit, teaching rhythms to younger students, leading sectionals, and owning their role in band. Their journeys remind us that music is more than a craft. It's a catalyst for growth, resilience, and passion that enriches every part of life. Music education is not a luxury, it's a lifeline. It didn't just shape who I became, it shaped where I could go. Music was a core part of my Questbridge application, a national program that connects high-achieving, low-income students with full scholarships to top colleges. And it helped me find my voice, tell my story, and ultimately earn a full ride to Haverford College. This May, I will be graduating with a double major in music and computer science. But without music, I wouldn't have had that opportunity. I wouldn't be standing here today. That's why I will always keep going back, no matter what my career path is, to classrooms like the one that changed my life, to try and be that person for someone else. I'm only here because someone like Mrs. Smith believed in me, because she gave me the tools to find my voice. So I ask you to imagine, what if she hadn't? What if I walked away before I ever had the chance to see what I could become? Now think about the voices we'll never hear if we don't support the future of music education. Thank you.